The great hall of the Galactic Council was silent. 300 species watched from their seats as High Overlord of the Hegemony stood at the center platform. His gray skin stretched tight over sharp bones, and his 4 eyes burned with cold confidence. "The matter is simple," said. His voice carried through the massive chamber without effort. "The humans of Earth have refused to pay tribute. They have rejected our generous offer of protection. They have insulted the hegemony." A murmur passed through the council. Everyone knew what came next when they felt insulted. "We will correct this mistake," continued. "Earth will surrender all colonies, all resources, and all military vessels. Their population will serve the hegemony as workers. This is not a request. This is their only path to survival." In the far corner of the hall, Ambassador watched her leader speak. She was old and she had seen many wars. She had also spent years studying the strange species called humans. Unlike, she had read their history. Unlike, she was afraid. "High Overlord," she said, stepping forward. The hall went quiet again. "I must advise caution." Turned slowly, his 4 eyes narrowed. "Caution against primitives who discovered space travel only 50 years ago." "Their history shows patterns that concern me," said carefully. "They nearly destroyed themselves 3 times with weapons of their own creation. They did not stop because they became peaceful. They stopped because they learned patience. They learned to wait." "Wait for what?" laughed, and several council members laughed with him. "For enemies," said quietly. "I believe they have been waiting for us." Dismissed her with a wave of his hand. "Send the ultimatum. Give them 10 cycles to surrender. After that, we attack." 12,000 light-years away, Admiral One stood on the bridge of the command station orbiting Earth. He was 63 years old, with gray hair cut short and eyes that had seen too much war. Behind him, dozens of officers worked at their stations, their faces lit by screens showing data from across the solar system. "The message has arrived, Admiral," said Lieutenant Ha. She was young, barely 30, but her voice was steady. She had trained her whole life for this moment. Everyone in this room had. "Read it," one said. Ha looked at her screen. "Surrender all colonies and resources, disband military forces, submit population for labor assignment. Failure to comply will result in complete extinction." She paused. "We have 10 cycles, about 12 Earth days." The bridge went silent. Everyone waited for the Admiral's response. One walked slowly to the main window. Below him, Earth turned slowly blue and green and white, home to 11 billion people. Behind him, the moon glowed silver. Beyond that, Mars and its colonies, Jupiter's stations, Saturn's mining platforms. 50 years of expansion, 50 years of building, 50 years of preparation. "Contact the World Council," he said. "Emergency session. Every nation, every leader, every voice. We decide together." The session lasted 6 hours. Presidents and prime ministers, generals and scientists, they all spoke. Some wanted to negotiate. Some wanted to flee. Some wanted to fight. In the end, they voted. The vote was unanimous. Admiral One returned to his bridge with new orders. His officers stood at attention as he entered. "The answer is no," he said simply. "We do not surrender, we do not run, we do not bow." A cheer rose from the bridge crew, but one raised his hand for silence. "This will not be easy. Our visible fleet is 200 ships. Intelligence says they are sending 3,000. They think we are weak. They think we are primitive. They think this will be simple." He paused and looked at each officer in turn. "They are wrong." He turned to Lieutenant Ha. "Prepare the response. Standard diplomatic channel, polite but firm. We decline their offer." "Yes, Admiral," Ha began typing, then stopped. "Sir, should I mention anything about our preparations?" "No," one said. "Let them come confident. Let them come blind. When the time is right, you will send a different message, one they will never forget." Deep beneath the surface of Mars, Dr. Sung Ho stood in a control room carved from red stone. Screens surrounded him, showing technical data that only a handful of people in the universe understood. He was a small man with tired eyes, but those eyes held a fierce intelligence. "Project is ready," he said into his communicator. "All systems green. We can activate on your command, Admiral." "Not yet," came one's voice. "We need them deep in the system. We need them committed. We need them to believe they have already won." "Understood." Sung-Ho looked at the screens showing his life's work. 50 years of secret research. 50 years of building weapons that should not exist. Weapons that broke the rules of physics. Weapons that would change everything. "They have no idea what is coming," he whispered to himself. On the edge of the solar system, sensors detected the first ships dropping out of faster-than-light travel. 10 ships, then 100, then 1,000. They kept coming, wave after wave, until 3,000 warships filled the darkness of space. War Marshal stood on the bridge of his flagship, the Endless Conquest. He was younger than hungry for glory, eager to prove himself. This would be his greatest victory. Crushing a primitive species, claiming their world, earning his place in history. "Reports," he commanded. "Human defenses detected," his tactical officer said. "Approximately 200 vessels, orbital stations around Earth and the Moon, planetary shields, detected but appear weak." Smiled, 200 against 3,000. This is not a battle, this is an execution. "War Marshal," another officer said, "we are receiving a transmission from Earth." "Show me." Admiral One's face appeared on the screen. He looked calm. Too calm, thought. The calm of a man who had already accepted death. "Fleet," one said, "you have entered human space without permission. You have threatened our people with extinction. We ask you one time only to turn back. Leave now and there will be no war. Stay, and you will face the consequences of your choice." Laughed. "Is this supposed to frighten me? Your 200 ships against my 3,000. "This is not a threat," one replied. "This is a warning. We do not want this war, but if you force it upon us, we will end it. Turn back now. This is your only chance." The transmission ended. Shook his head in disbelief. These humans are either brave or stupid, perhaps both. He turned to his fleet commanders. "All ships advance. Standard invasion formation. We will be orbiting their pathetic little planet within 3 cycles." Back on the command station, Lieutenant Ha watched the enemy fleet begin its approach. "They are coming, Admiral," she said. One nodded slowly. He felt no fear, only a cold, hard determination that had been building for 50 years. "Then let them come," he said, "and when the time is right, we will show them what humanity really is." He looked out at the stars, at the approaching lights of 3,000 enemy ships, and he smiled. "They think this is the end," he said quietly. "They do not know this is just the beginning." The first shots came 3 days after the fleet entered the solar system. Captain Ah stood on the bridge of the battleship Silent Resolve, watching her screens fill with enemy contacts. Her ship was old by military standards, one of the first built when humanity reached the stars. But it was strong, and its crew was ready. "Enemy fleet closing," her tactical officer reported. 300 ships in the first wave. They are targeting the lunar defense stations. Ah was 42 years old, a career officer who had spent her entire adult life preparing for this moment. She had trained in simulations, studied alien tactics, and always believed this day would come. Now it was here. "All ships, this is Captain Ah," she said into the fleet channel. "Form defensive line between the enemy and Earth. We hold them here. We buy time, no retreat." Her fleet of 200 ships moved into position. They looked tiny against the approaching armada, like fishing boats facing a tsunami. War Marshal watched from his flagship with amusement. "They actually mean to fight. How touching. All forward batteries engage at will." The space between the fleets erupted in fire. Plasma cannons sent bright green bolts screaming across the void. Human ships answered with missiles and rail guns, their weapons primitive but accurate. The silent resolve shook as a plasma bolt struck her shields. Alarms screamed. Crew members grabbed consoles to stay standing. "Shields at 70%, the tactical officer shouted. "Return fire," Ah commanded. "Target their weapon systems, make every shot count." On Earth's surface, generals stood in the Global Defense Center, watching the battle unfold on massive screens. He was 60 years old, a veteran of the Mars colony uprising, the last major conflict humanity had faced. That war had been human against human. This was something different. "Admiral," he spoke into his communicator, "the enemy is pushing hard. Our fleet is taking heavy losses." "Hold the line," one's voice came back. "We need them committed. We need them to believe they are winning." "They are winning," said grimly. "We have lost 30 ships already." "Then we lose more. This is the plan, trust the plan." Closed his eyes for a moment. He understood what one was doing. Every human ship that died, every life that was lost, it was all part of the trap. They had to look weak. They had to look desperate. They had to make the believe victory was easy. It was the hardest thing he had ever done. "Activate planetary shields," he ordered. "Maximum power. Show them we can protect the surface at least." Deep beneath every major city on Earth, massive generators hummed to life. Energy shields flickered into existence around the planet, overlapping layers of protection that the Galactic Council had said were impossible. They had shields for ships, not for entire worlds. Humans had built them anyway. War Marshal frowned when he saw the shield readings. "What is that? Their planet has shields." "Yes, War Marshal, covering all major population centers. Our standard bombardment will not penetrate." Interesting, was surprised but not worried. "They have some tricks. It does not matter. We will destroy their fleet first, then find a way through their shields. Continue the attack." In space, the battle raged on. Human ships fought with desperate courage. The silent resolve destroyed 4 enemy vessels before her shields finally failed. Captain I felt her ship shudder as plasma fire tore through the hull. "Hull breach on decks 7 through 9, damage control reported. Fires in engineering, engines at 60%. "Keep fighting," Ah ordered. Her face was bleeding from a cut on her forehead, but she did not notice. "We have not given them permission to kill us yet." Her crew laughed grimly and kept working their stations. Admiral 1 watched the battle from his command station with a heavy heart. Every ship lost was 1,000 lives. Every explosion was families who would never see their loved ones again. He bore the weight of each death, and he would carry that weight forever. But he could not stop now, not yet. "Status report," he said quietly. "We have lost 80 ships," Lieutenant Ha reported. Her voice was steady, but her hands were shaking. "Enemy losses are 140. They have 2,800 ships remaining." "And their position?" "Past Mars orbit, deep in the inner system, committed to their attack vector." One nodded slowly. This was the moment. The trap was set. The enemy was inside. "Contact Dr. Sung-ho," he said. "Tell him to prepare for Phase 1. On Mars, Dr. Sung-ho received the message with a mix of relief and dread. He had spent 50 years building Project. He had hoped he would never have to use it, but hope was a luxury humanity could not afford. "All stations," he announced to his team, "begin activation sequence. We go live in 30 minutes." His technicians moved quickly, their fingers flying over controls. Screens lit up with data showing power levels rising across hidden stations throughout the asteroid belt. Stations that the scanners had never detected. Stations that held weapons no species in the galaxy had ever imagined. Back in space, Captain Ah was still fighting. Her ship was badly damaged but still alive. Around her, less than 100 human ships remained. "Captain," her communications officer said, "we are receiving a priority message from Admiral 1. Put it through. One's face appeared on her damaged screen. He looked tired but determined. Captain Ah, you have fought bravely. All of you have. Now I need you to do something harder. I need you to retreat. Retreat? Ah was confused. Sir, if we retreat, they will reach Earth. They will reach Earth anyway, but they will follow you. They will chase the wounded animal thinking victory is close. Lead them toward the inner planets. Lead them into the trap. Understanding dawned on Ah's face. The hidden fleet, Project, it is time. It is time, one confirmed. Fall back slowly, make them chase you, and when you reach the designated coordinates, get your ship out of the way. Things are about to become very dangerous. Yes, Admiral, Ah turned to her crew. All ships fighting retreat, fall back toward Earth, make them follow. The human fleet began to withdraw, still firing, still fighting, but moving backward. War Marshal saw this and laughed with triumph. They are running, the cowards are finally running. He stood tall on his bridge. All ships, pursuit formation. Do not let them escape. Today we end the human race. The fleet surged forward, hungry for the kill, eager to finish what they had started. They did not see the trap closing around them. On the command station, Admiral One watched the enemy rush toward their doom. He felt no joy, only a grim satisfaction that the plan was working. Lieutenant Ha, he said, it is time to send the message, the real message. Ha's fingers moved to her console. She had practiced this moment 1,000 times. Now it was real. All frequencies, she asked. All frequencies, every ship, let them hear it. She pressed the transmit button, and her voice went out across space, reaching every ship in the solar system. Attention, fleet. You were warned, you were given every chance to turn back. You chose to continue. You chose war. You chose death. She paused, her voice cold and clear. You have locked your fate. War Marshal heard the message and frowned. What does that mean? What is she talking about? He would find out soon enough. War Marshal dismissed the human transmission with a laugh. Empty words from a dying species. His fleet had crushed their defenses, chased their pathetic ships halfway across the system, and now victory was only hours away. Nothing could stop him. How long until we reach Earth? He asked. 6 hours at current speed, War Marshal. The human fleet is falling back toward the planet. They have nowhere left to run. Smiled. He would enjoy watching Earth burn. He would enjoy reporting this victory to High Overlord. He would be remembered forever as the commander who conquered humanity. Then his tactical officer spoke, and everything changed. War Marshal, I am detecting gravitational anomalies. What kind of anomalies? Unknown. The readings do not match any natural phenomenon. They are appearing throughout the asteroid belt, hundreds of them. Felt the first touch of cold uncertainty. Show me. The main screen changed to show the space around them. Red dots appeared everywhere, scattered across the darkness like drops of blood. What am I looking at? Demanded. Before anyone could answer, the dots began to move. They were not natural formations. They were ships, hundreds of ships, then thousands. 2,000 vessels emerging from hidden positions in the asteroid belt, the tactical officer reported, his voice shaking. Human military signatures. War Marshal, they have another fleet. That is impossible, whispered. Our intelligence said 200 ships they cannot have. They hid them. The realization hit him like a physical blow. They hid them and let us think we were winning. Captain Ah watched from the damaged bridge of the Silent Resolve as humanity's true fleet revealed itself. 2,000 warships, built in secret over 50 years, hidden in the asteroid belt where no one would think to look. They were larger than the ships that had fought the first battle, stronger, more advanced. There it is, she said softly, the real fleet. Her crew stared at the screens in wonder. They had known about the hidden forces, but seeing them emerge was something else entirely. Hope, real hope, filled the bridge for the first time since the battle began. All surviving ships, this is Admiral 1, the communicator crackled. Reform with the main fleet. The second phase begins now. On Mars, Dr. Sung-ho watched his screens with intense focus. The hidden fleet was just the beginning. The real weapon was still waiting. Project at full power, his technician reported. All stations ready, targeting systems locked. Sung-ho took a deep breath. He had spent his entire career developing this technology, weaponized wormholes, portals that could open inside enemy ships and tear them apart from within. It was terrible. It was necessary. Admiral 1, he spoke into his communicator, is ready on your command. Wait for my signal, 1 replied. Let them understand first. Let them see what they face. War Marshal's flagship shook as the first shots from the human fleet struck his shields. The battle had reversed in an instant. Now the hunters were being hunted. Return fire, screamed. All ships attack formation, we still outnumber them. But his fleet was in chaos. Ships that had been charging forward now tried to reorganize. Captains who had expected easy victory now faced a fighting force that matched their own. We have lost 200 ships in the first exchange, his tactical officer reported. Human weapons are more advanced than our intelligence suggested. Their shields are. An explosion cut him off. Something had appeared inside one of the cruisers. A hole in space, small but growing, tearing the ship apart from the inside. What was that? Demanded. Unknown weapon signature. It appears to be some kind of localized wormhole. The ship was destroyed from within. More explosions followed. Vessels began dying without any visible cause. Small points of twisted space appeared in their engine rooms, their bridges, their weapon systems. Each wormhole lasted only seconds, but seconds were enough. They can open holes inside our ships, realized with horror. They can kill us without firing a shot. Dr. Sung-ho watched the destruction with a heavy heart. Each wormhole was precisely targeted, designed to disable rather than completely destroy when possible. But war was war. Ships died. Crews died. Even from this distance, he could imagine the terror of those soldiers. Phase 1 complete, he reported. 1,500 enemy ships destroyed or disabled in the first wave. Admiral 1 received the report with a nod. The battle was turning, but it was not over yet. Continue operations, he ordered. Target any ship that maintains aggressive posture. Spare those who surrender. Surrender? Sung-ho was surprised. You think they will surrender? Some will. When they see there is no hope, some will choose life. On the endless conquest, War Marshal watched his fleet die around him. Half his ships were gone. The rest were scattering, trying to escape weapons they could not understand or defend against. Retreat, he ordered. All ships fall back to the system edge. We need to regroup. War Marshal, his communications officer said, we are receiving a transmission from the Galactic Council archives. What? Put it through. Ambassador's face appeared on screen. It was an old recording, made months ago when she had tried to warn the hegemony about attacking Earth. I have studied their history, his recorded voice said. These humans nearly destroyed themselves 3 times, with nuclear weapons, with biological agents, with artificial intelligence. Each time they pulled back from extinction at the last moment. They did not become peaceful. They became careful. They became patient. They stopped fighting themselves and started preparing. Her 4 eyes stared directly at the camera. They have been waiting for an enemy worthy of their full attention. I fear we have given them exactly what they wanted. The recording ended. Stared at the blank screen, finally understanding how badly he had miscalculated. Captain Ah pushed the silent resolve forward with the rest of the human fleet. Her ship was barely holding together, but she refused to leave the battle. Enemy vessels attempting to retreat, her tactical officer reported. Don't let them, Ah replied. They came here to exterminate us. They don't get to run away. The human fleet pursued, but they did not simply slaughter. Ships that powered down their weapons were surrounded and captured. Crews that surrendered were taken prisoner. It was not mercy for mercy's sake. It was proof that humanity was better than the enemy who had come to destroy them. 12,000 light-years away, High Overlord watched the disaster unfold on his screens. Real-time reports showed his fleet being torn apart by weapons that should not exist. "How is this possible?" he whispered. "They are primitives. They have only had space travel for 50 years. "Apparently," one of his advisors said carefully, "they spent those 50 years preparing for exactly this kind of war." His four eyes narrowed with rage and fear. 1,500 ships gone, War Marshal's fleet in retreat. Everything he had planned was falling apart. "Send reinforcements," he commanded. "Send everything we have." "High Overlord, if we commit more forces and they have additional weapons." "Send them," slammed his fist on his command console. "I will not be defeated by humans." But even as he gave the order, a cold voice in his mind told him the truth. This war was already lost. Humanity had been playing a game he did not even understand, and now they held all the pieces. In the Sol system, Admiral One watched the enemy retreat with no satisfaction on his face. Too many humans had died for him to feel victory, but they were winning. Against all odds, against an enemy who had come to destroy them, they were winning. "Sir," Lieutenant Ha said, "what are your orders?" One looked at the scattered fleet, running for their lives. "We do not let them escape," he said quietly. "We follow them. We end this threat forever, and we make sure no one in this galaxy ever thinks about attacking Earth again." The hunt had begun. The fleet ran, and humanity followed. War Marshal's remaining ships fled toward the edge of the solar system, desperate to reach faster-than-light distance and escape. Behind them, the human fleet pursued without mercy. Captain Ah led the chase in her damaged battleship, refusing to stop despite warnings from her engineering team. "The Silent Resolve cannot maintain this speed," her chief engineer pleaded. "Our engines are failing. We need to fall back for repairs." "We fall back when the enemy is destroyed," Ah replied, "not before." Her crew did not argue. They understood. These aliens had come to kill every human being alive. They had planned to turn Earth into a graveyard. There would be no rest until this threat was ended forever. Admiral One watched the pursuit from his command station. His fleet was spreading out, surrounding the retreating enemy, cutting off escape routes one by one. "Enemy fleet is attempting to scatter," Lieutenant Ha reported. "Small groups breaking off in different directions." "Track all of them," one ordered. "No ship escapes, not one." "Sir, War Marshal's flagship is still operational. He is making for space at maximum speed." One nodded slowly. "Captain Ah." "Sir." "The Endless Conquest, can you catch it?" Ah looked at her screens. His flagship was fast but damaged. Her ship was slower but closer. It would be tight. "I can try, Admiral." "More than try, Captain. I need him alive. I need the galaxy to see their war leader answer for his crimes." "Understood." Silent Resolve pursuing. War Marshal stood on his bridge, watching the human ships grow closer on his screens. His proud fleet of 3,000 ships had been reduced to less than 500, and those numbers were falling every hour. The humans would not stop. They would not negotiate. They would not show the mercy he suddenly wished he had offered them. "War Marshal," his tactical officer said, "the human vessel Silent Resolve is closing on us. They will intercept in 20 minutes. Can we outrun them?" "Negative. Their engines are damaged, but so are ours. They will catch us before we reach jump distance." Closed his four eyes. He had led armies across a dozen worlds. He had conquered species that the hegemony considered threats. He had never tasted defeat. Now defeat was all he could see. "Prepare for combat," he said quietly. "We will not surrender to primitives." "War Marshal, with respect, they are not primitives. They never were." opened his eyes and looked at his officer. The young was right. Everything they had believed about humans was wrong. The stories about them being weak and young and foolish had all been lies. Lies the humans had encouraged. Lies that had led the hegemony to its destruction. No, admitted. They are not primitives, they are something far more dangerous. On Earth, General oversaw the processing of captured soldiers. Thousands had surrendered when their ships were disabled or destroyed. They expected torture. They expected execution. Instead, they found clean cells, medical treatment, and food. "Why do you help us?" one prisoner asked a human guard. "We came to kill you, all of you." The guard, a young woman from Korea named One, shrugged. "You lost. Hurting you now would not bring back our dead. It would just make us like you." They stared at her with confusion. His species did not show mercy to defeated enemies. They could not understand why humans would. General reported to Admiral One. "Prisoners are secured. No mistreatment. Everything is documented for the Galactic Council to see." "Good," One replied. "The Council is watching. Every species in the galaxy is watching. We will show them that humans do not become monsters to defeat monsters." "Some would say we should, after what they planned for us." "Some would be wrong." One's voice was firm. "We are better than revenge. We always have been." On Mars, Dr. Sung-ho received new orders. The enemy was broken. Project had served its purpose. Now came the next phase. "Phase 2 mapping is complete," he told Admiral One. "We have located every military installation within 50 light years, their shipyards, their weapons factories, their command centers. Can reach them. We have placed wormhole generators on captured ships. When those ships reach space, we can open portals anywhere we want. Their entire military infrastructure is vulnerable." One was silent for a long moment. This was power that no species should have. The power to destroy an enemy across any distance. The power to end civilizations with a thought. "We will use it only for military targets," he said finally. "No cities, no civilians, only the tools of war." "Understood, Admiral. We destroy their ability to fight, not their people." "Exactly." In deep space, Captain Ah caught the endless conquest. Her ship came alongside the enemy flagship, weapons locked and ready. "War Marshal," she broadcast, "your ship is disabled. Your fleet is destroyed. Surrender now and you will be treated fairly. You will face justice, but you will live." His voice came back, tired and broken. "Justice? You mean punishment?" "I mean accountability. You ordered the destruction of Earth. You will answer for that. But execution is not guaranteed. Humanity does not require blood for blood." "I do not understand you creatures," said. "You could kill me. You have the right." "We have the power," Ah corrected. "Having power and having the right to use it are different things. That is a lesson the hegemony never learned. Maybe it is time you started." The endless conquest's weapons powered down. A shuttle launched from its docking bay, carrying War Marshal to his captors. High Overlord watched the reports with growing panic. His fleet was gone. His war leader was captured. His empire's greatest military force had been crushed by a species everyone thought was weak. He called the Galactic Council, demanding intervention. His face appeared on screens across the galaxy, pleading and threatening at the same time. "This is an illegal war of aggression by Earth," he shouted. "The Council must act, send peacekeeping forces, stop this madness." The Council representatives listened in silence. When finished, the ambassador from the Union spoke. "You invaded Earth's system. You planned to exterminate their species. You refused their offer of peace. Now you want the Council to save you." The ambassador made a sound like bitter laughter. "The hegemony has treated the Council with disrespect for centuries. You have conquered our allies. You have threatened our borders. Now you face the consequences of your arrogance and you expect us to help." Other ambassadors agreed. They had no friends in the Council. They had only victims who were happy to see them fall. "No intervention," the council president announced. "This matter is between the hegemony and Earth. The council will not interfere." Screamed in rage and cut the transmission. Lieutenant Ha prepared the next message as ordered. This one would go to every planet, every station, every ship in the galaxy. Humanity's terms for ending the war. "Broadcast ready, Admiral," she said. "Send it." Her voice went out across the stars, heard by billions of beings on thousands of worlds. "This is Earth to all species of the Galactic Council. The hegemony attacked our home without provocation. They planned genocide against our people. We have defended ourselves. We have won. Now we offer terms." She paused, letting the words sink in. "The hegemony will surrender all military forces. War criminals will face trial. Reparations will be paid to Earth and to other species harmed by the hegemony. In exchange, we will spare civilians. We will not destroy there. We will not seek revenge." Another pause. "Some species believe that power means cruelty, that victory means destruction. Humanity believes differently. We are strong enough to destroy our enemies. We are wise enough not to. Remember that." The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, species that had feared for centuries began to hope, and species that had thought humans were weak began to understand their terrible mistake. Admiral One looked at Lieutenant Ha with something close to pride. "Well spoken," he said. "Thank you, sir," she hesitated. "Do you think they will accept the terms?" One looked out at the stars, toward distant space, where the final phase of the war was about to begin. "They will," he said. "They have no choice. We have made sure of that." The fleet moved toward territory. The end was coming. Earth's fleet surrounded the 2,000 human warships formed a ring around the planet, their weapons armed, their crews ready. Below them, 6 billion civilians looked up at the sky and waited to die. Admiral One stood on the bridge of his command ship, studying the planet on his screens. It was beautiful in its way. Blue oceans, green forests, white clouds. A living world full of people who had nothing to do with the war their leaders had started. "All ships in position, Admiral," Captain Ah reported. Her ship had been repaired enough to join the final operation. She would not miss this moment. "Status of planetary defenses. Minimal. Their orbital stations are destroyed. Their defense fleet is gone. They have ground-based weapons but nothing that can reach us." One nodded, though was defenseless. He could order its destruction with a single word. Project could tear the planet apart in minutes. Every city could be turned to ash. He would not give that order. "Open a channel to High Overlord," he said. The screen flickered and appeared. He looked different from the confident leader who had demanded Earth's surrender months ago. His gray skin was pale. His 4 eyes were bloodshot. He looked like a being who had seen his entire world collapse around him. Admiral One said. His voice was flat, empty of its former arrogance. "You have won. What do you want?" "I want peace," One replied. "True peace, not the submission you offered us." "Peace?" laughed bitterly. "You have come to destroy my world and you speak of peace." "If I wanted to destroy your world, it would already be burning. I am here to offer you a choice." Leaned forward, desperate hope flickering in his eyes. "What choice?" "Surrender your military forces, all of them. Every ship, every weapon, every soldier. Allow trials for those who ordered and planned the attack on Earth. Pay reparations to the species you have conquered. In exchange, your people will live. Your civilization will survive. You will have a chance to rebuild." "And if I refuse?" One was silent for a long moment. "Then I will do what I must, but I am asking you, I am giving you a chance that you never gave us. Choose life." Stared at the human admiral, trying to understand. In culture, a defeated enemy was destroyed completely. Their cities burned, their people enslaved, their history erased. It was the way of power. But these humans did not follow that way. Why asked. You could kill us all, we deserve it by our own laws. Why show mercy? Because mercy is not weakness, one said. It takes more strength to spare an enemy than to destroy them. Humanity learned that lesson the hard way. We spent thousands of years killing each other before we understood. Now we choose differently. I do not understand you creatures. No, you do not, but perhaps your children will. Perhaps in time they will learn what we learned. That true power is not the ability to destroy. It is the ability to create, to build, to forgive. Was silent for a long time. Finally, he bowed his head. I accept your terms. The hegemony surrenders. The war was over. In the weeks that followed, the galaxy watched in amazement as humanity kept its promises. Military forces were disarmed. War criminals, including War Marshal, faced trial before a joint council of species. They were judged by their actions, not their race. Some were executed. Some were imprisoned. Some, like Ambassador, were released with honors for trying to prevent the war. The people were not punished for the crimes of their leaders. Human aid ships brought food and medicine to worlds that had been stripped by the hegemony's war machine. Reconstruction began under human supervision, but with hands doing the work. Captain Ah returned to Earth a hero. She stood on a stage before millions, but she did not smile. I am not proud of what we did, she told the crowd. I am proud that we survived. I am proud that we did not become what we fought against. Every life we took weighs on me, but we defended our home. We protected our people. And we showed the galaxy that strength and compassion can exist together. The crowd cheered, but Ah only saw the faces of the crews she had lost. She would carry them with her forever. Dr. Sung-ho began the long process of dismantling project. The weaponized wormhole technology was too dangerous to exist. Other species would try to steal it. Other humans might be tempted to use it for conquest instead of defense. We built this to survive, he said to his team on the final day. Not to rule, let it be forgotten. The generators were destroyed. The research was deleted. Only a handful of people would ever know what humanity had created in its darkest hour. General oversaw the integration of former territories into a new galactic order. It was slow, difficult work. Many species wanted revenge against the Many wanted to take their turn as oppressors. That is not why we fought, told them firmly. We did not end one tyranny to create another. Every species has the right to freedom. If you cannot accept that, you have learned nothing. At the Galactic Council, Earth took its permanent seat. Ambassador Min, a diplomat who had spent years preparing for this moment, spoke for humanity. We did not seek this war, he told the assembled species. We hope to join the galactic community in peace. They chose differently. They forced us to reveal abilities we would rather have kept hidden. They forced us to become warriors when we wanted to be friends. He paused, looking around the great hall. Let this be a lesson, not a threat but a lesson. Humanity wants peace. We want trade, cooperation, friendship. We have so much to offer and so much to learn from all of you. But we will not be victims. We will not bow to tyrants. If any species threatens Earth, they will face the same fate as the hegemony. The council was silent. The lesson was received. Admiral One retired quietly. He refused medals and parades. He wanted only to go home, to tend his garden and forget the weight of the decisions he had made. But before he left, he visited Lieutenant Ha one last time. You have done well, he told her. Better than you know. The messages you sent changed history. The galaxy will remember your words. I just said what needed to be said, sir. That is the hardest thing to do. He smiled, the first real smile she had ever seen from him. Take care of Earth, Lieutenant. You have earned the right. On the anniversary of the war's end, Lieutenant Ha was promoted to commander. She was given the honor of sending the final official transmission of the conflict. It went to every corner of the galaxy, to every species that had watched humanity fight and win. She stood alone at her console, thinking about everything that had happened. The fear, the death, the victory, the mercy, all of it led to this moment. She pressed the transmit button and spoke. To all species of the Galactic Council, to all beings who watch the stars, this is Earth. 1 year ago, we faced extinction. The hegemony came to destroy us, thinking we were weak, thinking we were prey. They were wrong. She paused, remembering the faces of friends who had not survived. We did not want war. We do not want the next one. Humanity has spent 10,000 years learning how to fight. We have killed billions of our own kind in conflicts that seem foolish now. We are very, very good at destruction. But we have also learned that destruction is not enough. Building is harder than burning. Forgiveness is harder than revenge. Peace is harder than war. Her voice grew stronger. We choose the harder path. We choose to build. We choose to forgive. We choose peace. We beg every species to choose the same, because if you do not. She remembered Admiral One's words. She remembered Captain Oz's courage. She remembered every human who had died defending their home. If you do not choose peace, you will face us. You will face a species that survived 10,000 years of war against itself. You will face a species that has weapons you cannot imagine and the will to use them. You will face the fury of a people who only wanted to be left alone. She took a breath for the final words. Choose peace, we beg you, because if you choose war, you will lock your fate, and there will be no mercy the second time. This is Earth. This is our only warning. Make your choice. The transmission ended. Across the galaxy, in council chambers and military headquarters and ordinary homes, billions of beings heard the message. Most chose to listen. A few did not. But that is a story for another time. Earth had sent its final transmission. The galaxy had received its only warning, and humanity, at last, had claimed its place among the stars. Not as conquerors, not as victims, but as something far more dangerous. Survivors,